Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tijana,
Jordanna,
and Marilynn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. If you are tired of quick fixes that don't last and you're ready to drop 10 pounds by summer the right way, then this episode is built just for you. Now, here's a reality check. You don't need another fad diet, an extreme workout plan, a magic pill. You don't need to Google anything else. You don't need to download another app. You need a sustainable system that actually works. And for us, that's the Sculpted solution. We are breaking down the Get Sculpted Core 4 for you in this episode that is going to help you actually lose that 10 pounds by summer. And our core 4 are movement, mindset, meals, and of course, muscle. Because when you master these, fat loss becomes inevitable and you will be strong, clear-headed, and you're going to be able to maintain your results. This is the simplest way to look at any fitness goal. And a major bonus for you, we are giving you a step-by-step plan to follow for the next 5 weeks so you can actually see progress by summer. So hang in to the end because we'll share all the details for you. So, Mark, can you kick us off with the first one?
Yes, everyone, welcome back. Let's kick it off with movement. I'm so excited because this is a big shift that we help our clients make. A lot of women, they still believe that if you want to lose weight or get in shape, you've got to be hitting the gym 6-7 days a week. You've got to be doing the cardio, the group fitness, the random workouts. And remember, you got to be sweating, right? Because that's what makes a good workout. But here's the thing, the burn you're feeling is burnout. You're miserable and you're actually getting little to no results. And that's because you don't need hours in the gym to transform your body. Like you said, Jord, you just need a strategic plan that has you doing the right thing that fits in your life, and it's going to allow you to be consistent. So when we talk about movement at Get Sculpted, we're talking about 2 key components. One is strength training, the foundation of all we do, which is the intentional sessions in the gym where you're lifting weights and building muscle. That's what sculpts your body. But we are also talking about daily movement, which is the movement that keeps your body active outside of your formal workouts. So let's break down the daily movement first, because I think a lot of women underestimate just how important it is and how much impact it can actually have on your progress. And I also want to clarify, we're not talking about go for runs for an hour or go do power walking on the track by your house. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just increase your daily steps. Park farther away when you go to the store. I actually did this on the weekend. We were at a store and then there was the grocery store 2 stores down, and my husband, God love him, was like, I'm going to drive. I was like, you're going to drive 2 stores down? So I walked, I met him there. I also got there faster than he did, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about moving during the day. When you're consistent with this type of daily movement, it's going to actually improve your energy. You're going to have improved digestion, better mobility, and you're just going to feel better because you are not sedentary. And personally, I have found that one of the best ways to do this is just to notice. Because if you aren't aware of what you're doing, it's very hard to make change. So notice when you're sitting for too long, right? You can take a 5-minute walk outside. If you're on a call where you don't have to do a lot of talking necessarily, walk and talk. A game changer. I know we've plugged this before, but I love my walking pad. I will use my walking pad as much as humanly possible. Girls, I know you do too. It's made such a difference in how I feel. So what about you girls in terms of how do you keep your daily movement up?
Well, I will say that this was definitely a reframe for me. And what I always come back to is we have to use our bodies the way they're intended. And we're not intended to sit at a desk and be in this seated position for 12 hours a day. When you think about what the human body is designed to do, walking from point A to point B should be the norm, but it's not. For a lot of people, it's me waking up, driving to work, sitting at work, driving home, and sitting at home is the norm. How crazy is that? So you have to be intentional with actually making your lifestyle different than the norm. And by the way, you never want to look to the norm because the norm is overweight, out of shape, no muscle, miserable. We don't want to be normal. We want to be above average here. So I just want to plug that in. But what you want to do is you want to create these regular routines in your day that are centered around moving more. Parking further away, that's definitely a hack I use. Also, like, remember the other day we all got a hotel and we were coming home from a dinner and I'm like, hell, why don't we just go walk on the freaking treadmill?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, we're just going to be sitting in the bed chatting.
But wait, I have to paint the picture for our listeners. This was like, we had a big dinner, a nice celebratory dinner.
Yes.
We were all in jeans.
Even better.
We got back, and before we even went up to the hotel room, T was like...
And it was almost 10 p.m.
Thank you. And T was like, let's go. And you know what, though? Not only did we move our body, we had fun. Like, I had so much fun with you girls.
Exactly. And it just took one person. Like, obviously, like, we're all on board with that stuff, but it just takes going out of that norm a little. It's like if you're with someone and, like, they drive everywhere, you could be like, why don't we walk? Some people don't even think of that. And same thing if you're at work with your coworkers, like, don't be afraid to be like, I'm going to walk on my lunch break. Who cares if people think you're wacky? They're going to be freaking asking you for tips in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So just not being afraid to go against like the norm and just creating pockets of movement in your day.
I would actually love to add in a couple for my executives working in the office all the time. There's a couple things that I did to get my steps in when I was in corporate that I found really, really helpful and not even that much extra effort. So I think the first one is definitely pacing when you're on a call. That is a big one. Another one is if you are going from meeting room to meeting room and it's on a different floor, take the stairs instead of the elevator. I think that's another one.
Good one.
And then a third one that I used to do all the time is I would fill up my water on a different floor or go to pee on a different floor because, again, it helped me get another level of stairs in.
Yeah.
And then the last one to kind of tie into what T was saying about like going against the grain is ask your colleagues if they would mind taking a walking meeting. I think for things that don't require a lot of notes, like maybe a status or a check-in meeting, something like that, you can absolutely take it as a walking meeting. And with so many awesome AI tools to take notes for you now, there could be an opportunity to do more than that. And I'd say for anybody working from home, a walking pad is like
essential,
a non-negotiable at this stage. You can get them for so cheap these days.
Yeah.
Under $200. There's one for every single budget. So I would say that there is awesome opportunities for you to get more movement instead of being sitting all the time.
That's so good.
Yeah. The opportunity's there if you look for it.
Agreed. And George, you just made me think, I'm going to do a plug for my educator people out there too. When you're on yard duty, I remember I worked with a woman who's awesome. And I remember one time watching her on yard duty and she was just like walking back and forth, because I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a teacher on yard duty, but they tend to kind of stay in one place. And so when you're on yard duty, walk the field, go around. I would even do that with my students. Like we called it DPA, daily physical activity. Take your kids on a walk, right? Instill the love of going for walks in the kids. T, you look like you're going to explode. Tell us.
Yeah. You had me thinking about a situation when I went to Splash Lagoon with my family. And like when we went there, don't get me wrong, I've been this parent before too, but a lot of them were just on their phones sitting. And I'm like, if there's ever an opportunity for you to be active with your kids, it's in the freaking Splash Lagoon. Like here they are jumping around in the water. And a lot of these people, they were overweight. I get that. But like get in the water with your kids, right? Like if you have small kids or like if they're going to swimming lessons, I always walk during their swimming lessons. Forget where it was that I took my kids, but everyone keeps asking, oh, do you want a seat? Because I keep standing. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like they keep thinking it's like I'm looking for a chair. I'm like, no, I don't want to sit. I've been sitting all day. So that's another opportunity.
We've actually had a few clients share pretty cool ideas like that when they're at their kids' like baseball practices or their dance. Like you just said, you'll find an opportunity if you look for it. It's not as difficult as you think, but you have to create that awareness. Okay, let's chat quickly about strength training though, because this is the game changer to getting sculpted because we know that it revs your metabolism, it tightens your body, and that's what actually creates that lean toned look that so many of you want. And here's the best part with that as well. Again, you don't have to be in the gym 6-7 days a week. You only need 3 to 4 strength training sessions. They can be as short as 30 to 45 minutes, but again, they have to be strategic and you have to train with intention, okay? So that is what our clients are doing. We often start them with full body workouts because you'll get the most bang for your buck there. You're hitting every major muscle group multiple times a week. And then as our clients get stronger and more seasoned, we progress their training plans into more specialized training phases, and the same can go for you as well. But make no mistake, our clients are busy women, moms, entrepreneurs. They have full-time careers and they're not working out every day. They are, our key here, training smarter, not harder. And they're getting amazing results week after week because when you combine daily movement and consistent resistance training with a plan and intention, that is where your body changes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And T, do you want to take us on to number 2 around mindset?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics. And, I used to think of the topic of mindset in general as, is this kind of fluffy? Like, is this really tactical? But I can't tell you how important it is to put yourself in the right headspace before you're starting any journey. So first of all, if you want to lose 10 pounds, like in the subject of this podcast, you're going to need to change your habits. You're going to need to do something differently than you're currently doing. Okay. So number one, you have to take ownership of the fact that what you're doing is not working, and you have to be committed to creating new habits. And the number one mistake people make is that they're like, oh, but I'm really busy and there's a lot going on. And this is kind of one of my pet peeves is like, life doesn't put everything on hold so you can lose 10 pounds. Life doesn't just put the pause button and be like, go ahead, girl, take it away. No, you I wish. You have to actually actively put these habits into your lifestyle. You have to implement all the stuff that we're talking about in a very conscious effort.
Right.
You can't wait till you're motivated or until all the stars align and your kids sleep through the night and like all these things, okay? And another thing that I want you to reframe is that it needs to be perfect. This is where this comes from too, where women think, oh, I have to wait till my schedule is completely clear because God forbid that I have one wedding to attend and that's going to throw me off. Well, it doesn't need to. Like, go into this knowing this is a forever thing. This is not a, I'm doing this for 6 weeks when everything's perfect thing. Like one missed workout or one off-plan meal, this is not going to mean that you're failing the whole entire journey. I'm sure you guys can speak to that. And you've seen this with your clients, right?
I love this saying, fitness is not a phase, it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
And if you go into this next attempt to lose weight and you really create that mindset shift that this is not a phase, this is my life now. I'm rebuilding my life into who I really want to be and how I really want to live, then you can't fail, because every time you stumble, it's just really more about a lesson and how do you pick up from where you are versus being like, oh, well, I had a cookie and now I'm just going to eat the whole box. Or, I had this ice cream and now I'm just going to eat the whole pint. Like it doesn't have to be like that. You can just keep going.
Agreed. And this is why I love one of our sculpted standards, build a fit life that lasts. Because your fitness, like you said, Jord, is a lifestyle and it needs to be able to follow you everywhere you go.
Yes.
So when you're on vacation, at a wedding, whatever it is, you don't abandon what you're doing. This is what I tell my clients. You adjust. You don't abandon. And actually, when you're living a fit life and you've got a plan that is, like we've talked about, sustainable, consistent, all of those things, it becomes much easier to adapt. So I think this also, and again, I think we have done episodes on this and we could continue. I think you also have to look at the rigidity of what you're doing. Because if you are doing something where you cannot pivot and adjust, then that's the problem in and of itself. So I love that standard. Build a fit life that lasts, because you can adjust to whatever life throws at you instead of saying, oh, I quit because I failed.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Mara. And I always come back to being consistently good and not occasionally great.
Love that.
And this was a big teaching moment for a lot of my clients. I know who they would identify very much like myself as type A. Like, you want to really go all in and go full throttle, but like you can't go all in all the time. And that's actually not what's going to get you the results anyway. Like,
no.
I said to one of my clients in our momentum call today that if you have 52 weeks of your year and you look back, how many of those 52 weeks were you consistent? Is it going to matter that you missed one workout, that you had that one off-plan snack? No. Does it matter if you're doing that more often than you're not, or too much? Sure, that's going to add up. So big picture, make sure that you're coming at this with the perspective that it's not going to be perfect and you're adaptable. So reframing this, like perfect saying, progress over perfection. We've all heard it. It's you versus you is one of my favorite quotes. I think sometimes even I get in the weeds of like, ooh, look at this person. Oh, they're on the same kind of timeline, but they're further along. It's like, you know what? I care about me.
That's right.
When you're looking at your business, you're looking at what are my KPIs from last year? Why do I care what someone else's business KPIs are in March last year?
That's right.
Or this year?
Yeah.
I care about me, right? It's the same thing with you and your progress. And then also knowing that you don't want to discount the small milestones. The small milestones and wins along the way are the journey. Like, I think people get in the weeds of, okay, let's say I want to lose that 10 pounds by summer. Okay, but let's say this week you had the wins of, hey, let's say the scale stayed the same. Let's just say this is the scenario. But you successfully navigated an event where you didn't overeat, you didn't binge, you basically focused heavily on your inputs, and you noticed that you have more energy, better digestion, That's a whole other story, which we talked about too, why the scale isn't everything. But you don't want to miss the forest for the trees.
That's
You
right.
really want to celebrate the wins along the way.
Agreed.
Like,
Love
can you guys,
that.
I know you guys have a lot to say. I'd love if you could speak to that.
It's so true, because when you start to be able to see wins beyond weight loss, while that still might be a goal, you're actually going to enjoy the journey so much more, and you're going to stick to the process. Like, you're going to be able to be more consistent when you can see wins outside of the weight loss. Like, you can count things. You didn't binge when a stressful event happened, or you went to that wedding and you felt like you looked amazing in that dress and you just ate and had fun, and that didn't snowball into like a whole weekend off plan. Or like your hair and skin and nails are growing in nicer. You know, there's 100 things that we could name as a non-scale victory.
Yes.
But when you start including those as progress, it really starts to reframe what a sustainable plan can do for you.
And I also think it's not just, I want to lose 10 pounds by summer. I want to keep that 10 pounds off after summer. And these small wins that we're talking about are actually the building blocks of habits and lifestyle change. So not only are you going to enjoy the journey a heck of a lot more, you're going to feel good about all these non-scale victories, because you're not just looking at the scale as your measure of progress. You're actually building the habits that are going to make it so after you lose that 10 pounds, you don't revert back to old behaviors and ways of doing things. So not only lose it, keep it. And that's how you do that, small wins.
Yes. And might I add too that the inputs, like what you're controlling, you can't directly influence your outputs. So like, I can't say, oh, I'm going to lose 2 pounds a week in 5 weeks or whatever. But when you heavily focus on your inputs, like what we're talking about, the outputs will come. So yes,
you're so right.
Like you said, Mary, you can lose the weight, sure. But when you focus on the actual journey, you're going to be able to keep the habits that are going to let you keep it off.
That's right.
So what we want you to focus on here, guys, is to really focus on showing up imperfectly, but consistently. Consistency over perfection is the name of the game.
That's right.
So, Jordan, I'd love if you could talk to us a little bit more about another couple of our M's, the meals and the muscle.
I love meals and muscle because they go together so nicely. I work out, I eat, I work out, and it all comes together. So you've all probably heard this by now. We can't outtrain a bad diet, right? And so they really do go hand in hand in terms of if you have the right training strategy and you are lifting heavy and you are having a program that works all the right muscles, that's helping you build that beautiful hourglass shape that most women are after, but you're unable to really bring it all together from a nutrition standpoint, and you're falling off track or you're going too strict and, you know, it rolls into a binge. It's like, you can't do that, right? You have to tackle one thing at a time, and it has to be aligned in terms of the plan. So what does that look like? When we talk about meals and we're setting our clients up for success, we're really looking at a small calorie deficit. We're not looking at 8, 9, 1,000 calorie reduction here. We're talking about maybe like between 200 and 500 calories, depending on their starting weight, depending on how much we're working with. And we're really trying to prioritize mostly whole foods, their protein intake, and fiber, because that's really going to help you stay full for longer. Right. It's going to give you the energy you need. It's going to be fueling your workouts, and it's going to help you manage your hunger through the day when you're on a caloric deficit.
Right.
And what I would add here is that hydration really does matter. So being thirsty, a lot of people will mistaken their thirst for hunger and then therefore go and eat more food, when really what they needed was more water and staying hydrated. And we all know the importance, Mar, you just talked about it before, about digestion and, you know, supporting your hydration for energy and mental clarity and all of those things. Drink your water.
Yes.
You need it. And then when we take a look at the muscle side of things, the strength training really is the key for long-term fat loss. We don't want to be hitting a weight loss goal just because we started doing an hour a day on the elliptical or the cycling classes for hours and hours a week. We really want to be sculpting the physique underneath the fat so that when you're coaxing that fat off, you're starting to reveal the muscle that you now have underneath that. And that's why we say you won't get bulky. You won't get bulky by lifting.
No.
When you peel off the fat, you have the muscle underneath, you're going to get that toned, lean, and sculpted look that you're after. Girls, would you like to add anything to that?
The connection between muscle and food. Because the other thing, like we've talked about, is when you are plunging yourself into a deep, steep deficit, yes, sure, you'll lose some fat, but you're also going to lose that muscle. And the muscle is what makes you sculpted and toned. So great, your number on the scale has come down, but you're soft and you don't look like you work out at all. Not to mention, the more muscle you have, the more calories you can eat, because muscle, it's more metabolically active. So like there's no world where having more muscle is a bad thing, because you can eat more, you look better, you're stronger. Not to mention, like, as you age, stronger bones, stronger muscles, like it's just like win, 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 win all the way across. So
we love that.
The connection is so key.
And T, for you?
Okay, so the really important thing I want to highlight for people is that you're not aiming to burn calories from your workout. If you haven't gotten this already, I'm going to stress it for you. When we say muscle is important for you and strength training is important for you to lose these 10 pounds, we're not saying that you're aiming to like turn on your Apple Watch and burn off that fat. Like, no. And whatever it's telling you, it's freaking inaccurate. So just ditch that completely. And don't you dare remove that from your daily calories or add it. Have you ever seen people doing that where it's like, my watch said I burned 300, so I added it. No,
don't do that. Yeah.
Don't ever do that. That's just a side note. But maybe, you're burning a little bit more calories in the workout, but it's going to take up 5% of the energy you burn in a day. So I just want to note that what we're highlighting here is that you being toned is going to give you something nice to reveal at your leaner weight. And it's going to help you maintain that weight loss, but it's not expediting the fat loss process in that sense.
Good point.
I love that. So now that you know about our core 4, mindset, muscle, movement, and meals, we want to show you a step-by-step 5-week plan. We're going to walk you through this, how to actually pull this all together for yourself so that you can actually see some of this leaning out happen as you move into summer. These are the principles that we use with our clients. And one of the things that we wanted to do by breaking it out for you is women tend to fail when we try to do it all at once and we implement all the changes at the same time. And so we want to actually break it into a week by week strategy where you're going to stack the wins so that you feel successful from day 1. Are you guys ready to dive into this?
Yes.
Let's do it. 5 weeks. Here we go.
All right. So on week 1, our goal here is for you to focus on building 1 habit per week. Okay. So week 1, the only thing we want you to focus on is dialing in your nutrition basics. So you're going to aim for protein at every single meal, 30 to 40 grams per meal. You want to aim for around 100 grams minimum per day. And we want you to cut out liquid calories, things like full calorie sodas, fancy lattes, excess alcohol. And you're going to stop winging it. You're going to plan your meals. You're going to know what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're going to know what your grocery shopping looks like so that you can be mindful of not having those extras, because those bites, licks, and tastes, they add up to hundreds and hundreds of calories per week.
Yeah.
And they can put you back into maintenance or surplus where you're essentially working against yourself. So that first one's really important. Dial in the nutrition basics and you're going to start seeing progress from literally day 1. Mar, do you want to take us through the next 2 weeks?
Yes. So week 2 is all about moving daily, moving more. You are going to want to aim for 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Now, listen, if you're currently doing less, the idea is just to increase. So if you're someone right now, you take a pulse check and you're at 2,000, the jump to 8 to 10 might be a little big. So the idea is do more than you're currently doing gradually. You can do this. We've talked about it. You can take a walk each day. You can park further away, take the stairs. We gave you tons of ideas. You're also going to want to commit to doing 3 strength training sessions per week. And you can keep it simple, like we talked about as well. Full body workouts are awesome. I would suggest focusing on foundational movements like squats, lunges, deadlifts, presses, and pushes. And we also want you to focus on hydration here in week 2, okay? Because this is going to support energy, digestion, and health. So a good target is that 2 to 3 liters a day. And again, just like your steps, if you take a pulse check and you're drinking 500 mils, maybe going to 3 liters is a bit of a jump, but everything we do, it's about stacking those wins. So just gradually increase. In week 3, we are going to want to lock in that consistency. So we really want you to challenge yourself here in week 3, because by now the foundation is locked in. So let's take it up a notch. With your workouts, you are definitely going to want to increase the intensity and push yourself harder. So lift heavier. You can add exercise reps. You can add sets. And with your meals, you are going to want to go grocery shopping and prep your food. And again, you want to get even more intentional. So a great strategy is plan out your weekly meals. Make your shopping list from there. Set aside the time to prep yourself, set yourself up for success, because it will be work up front. But then let me tell you, it makes everything easier as the week goes on. And on that note too, you're going to want to start tracking progress. So this is where you can take progress photos and measurements in the key areas like waist, hips, chest, and thighs. And you'll also want to track how much weight you're lifting. So in your workouts, get that data. How many reps are you doing? What weight? Because you're going to want to move up from there. And we cannot stress this enough, is so important because you can see what's happening over time. And we always say fact over feeling. So get that data in there. T, do you want to take us through weeks 4 and 5?
All right. So let's take it into week 4. So this is really where you want to audit your recovery and your stress management. This is what I feel like tends to get pulled to the wayside, and we can almost see it as like an afterthought, but we need to dedicate as much time and intention, more so intention, to this as we do our training and meals. So this means setting a bedtime, setting maybe an alarm or a reminder, really getting yourself into that restful state in the evening, and reverse engineering when you need to actually be in bed and asleep to get your full 7+ hours of sleep at night. You want to set your environment up for success there too. So avoid late night scrolling. Again, audit your nighttime routines. Really double down on what's going to help you show up better to your training, to your eating, and just be able to execute the plan at hand. And this means that you're intentional with downtime as well. So don't overexert yourself, avoid overcommitting, like really just double down on your routines, like your walking, your stretching, mindfulness, like winding down the evenings. All of it needs to be intentional. And you also need to recognize what is triggering you in terms of stress or falling off of your routine, and really aim to like shine the spotlight on that. And this is a perfect segue into our final week of your push here. And that is really just fine tuning things. Now you've done the work, you've laid down the groundwork, you have your key habits. It's really time to put all your chips in the places that work, that you know are a sure thing. But you are really determining like what has helped you be successful. So whether that be your habits around when you're training, your nutrition prep, like the timing of your week, all that stuff, double down on that. Just stay consistent, put more fuel to the fire here. And just remember, like consistency is always going to be the most important thing here. So you want to just keep showing up. Like the name of the game is to stay in the game with your non-negotiables. That's it.
I love that. And I think what we're trying to say to you in a very long explaining episode is that fat loss doesn't have to be as complicated as it's been made out to be. When you lock in the core 4, movement, mindset, meals, and muscles, you can actually create a predictable system to get you towards your goals, to make the progress that you're looking to make in a systematized manner that doesn't have you running for the hills every time something throws you off in life. And so this is what we want you to do over the next 5 weeks. Today, you're going to start week 1. It is a Thursday. This is perfect. You have an opportunity to listen to this episode. You're going to download the guide that we have that is part of the show notes of this episode, and you are going to begin week 1. Plan yourself out and go through week by week. And the best part is we have an episode that drops every Thursday. So on that episode drop day, you can move on to the next week. And we would love to hear how you're doing. Check in with us on our Instagram, getsculpted.ca. Let us know how you're doing, what's going well for you, what week you're on. We want to do this together with you. We want you to start to make the progress that our clients see and feel every single day. And we know that by doing these things and implementing them one by one, you will see that progress too. So don't forget, small, consistent actions can equal massive results. Don't wait. Start now. Let's do this and go take up some space, get sculpted, and keep us posted on how you're doing. Take care.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.